me!
Episode 407.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a late night episode of NetHeads. Not our typical fare that you might be used to. If you want to take part in the program, you can. A very unique way. We haven't done this in a long time, but it is something we used to do on the reg, just in different manners. You remember back in the day when Skype used to be Skype, people could call in via that. All manner of ways. We used to have an internet emergency. So here's what we're doing. It's a very micro-focused show today. We're talking about Doctor Who. Obviously, the season finale dropped. A lot of things happened. This is going to be a spoiler episode, okay? Spoilers. I'm telling you right now, spoilers. If you see this, if you hear this, you will be spoiled. So you have been warned. Really should have put spoilers in the headline. Oh well. So what we're going to do is, if you go to the show description on any one of the streaming platforms, probably except, then you can join our Discord. NetHeads as a podcast has a Discord. You can drop in there. You can, then if you have a microphone, you can go ahead and, well, you know, most laptops have a microphone. What you can do is that you can go into the NetHeads Discord, and there are two channels in there, voice channels. One of them is the green room. If you're interested in speaking to me live on air, you can. You can do that like that. And then if I see that you're in the green room, I can move you over here live and we can speak to one another. So now you got the whole layout. But we are going to talk very spoilery about this episode of Doctor Who. I really want to get my thoughts about it out before I hear or see anyone else's thoughts. Especially considering I've only seen it once. I got to admit something, too. I have only seen this episode in probably one of the least prime conditions ever, which is on my iPad Pro while sitting in an auditorium for a dance competition for my daughter. My daughter is in competitive dance, and that's just the way it was. The show obviously dropped at a specific time. We weren't getting the 8 a.m. drops like we were used to. No, this one was going like date and time with something else. So, yeah, it happened. I guess that's the best way to explain it. The new episode happened. I watched it that way, and spoilers, here are my thoughts, guys. I have to say that one, and you can also, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, or probably a lot of the same thoughts, you can hear them later on tomorrow on TARDIS Talk at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, over on its fan box, and also with Dr. Squee over on the Gallifrey Stands podcast. So there's going to be a lot of podcasting tomorrow, a lot of Doctor Who talk, but I really wanted to get my own fresh thoughts out there, not to mention, based on what we saw, I'm sure there are a lot of people that have their own ideas, their own opinions. They might need a hug. So if you want to drop in to the voice channel, go ahead. Again, show description, Discord, join, drop into the voice channel, green room. You can then be moved into the listener lounge, and we will be speaking to one another. So this series finale, series finale, because they have a series number in the UK. But, you know, here, if we talk about series finale, we're like, it's done. So it gets a little confusing sometimes. But with this episode of Doctor Who, it was the second part of a two-parter, the reality war. It was one of those situations, once again, where I've complained many times that showrunner Russell T Davies often will create a cliffhanger that he instantly Deus Ex Machina his way out of. He does it almost every single time. And this was no exception, because the last episode, what we saw was the Doctor falling to nothingness inside of an exploded detached balcony, right? So how is he going to get out of it? How he's going to get out of it? Get into the episode, you find out. But it happens within the first few moments, and now you've got an entirely different episode with an entirely different story, almost, and a whole new approach compared to what we saw in the previous episode. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, and this is really the spoilery part, this show, and this is the reason why I think a lot of people might need a hug. We had a situation when Ncuti Gatwa started the role. He took over from the regenerated 14th Doctor, who was once again David Tennant. And when that happened, there was a thing called Bi-Generation, which was a wonderful warm hug to every fan of every Doctor that ever lived, because what had happened is that instead of the new Doctor, or the old Doctor becoming the new Doctor, the old Doctor got to walk away and live a normal life while the new Doctor went on to be the Doctor, right? And it seemed really nice. It seemed really good. But then you have a problem, in a way, in that if you're having a regeneration scene and you're only going to have one person becoming the Doctor, and you're not going to have Ncuti Gatwa still around in a bi-generation, if you will, you're going to have to come up with a way to where he isn't going to bi-generate, which they did. But more importantly, there's a lot of chatter. Even Mark Lamb over on X watching the show brings it up. He says, hey, I've heard the next Doctor was announced. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this. Let me show you something, okay? Now, there have been certain things, certain concrete things that happen every time we've had a Doctor regenerate in this new era of Doctor Who. In the very first season, Christopher Eccleston was our Doctor. He then became David Tennant as the new Doctor when he regenerated. When that happened, we saw this. Okay? As you can see in this crappy image right here, there we go. And introducing David Tennant as Doctor Who. Only time he's been referred to that I know of as Doctor Who in the modern era. So, okay, that's fine. David Tennant then regenerates into Matt Smith. And what do we see? Again, apologize for the resolution. And introducing Matt Smith as the Doctor. Okay? Again, very straightforward. Then you have Matt Smith actually, there was a new Doctor introduced that didn't involve a regeneration, and that was John Hurt as the Doctor. So we got this. Okay, so Matt Smith finally regenerates into Peter Capaldi. You know where this is going, right? And introducing Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. As the Doctor. When Peter Capaldi regenerates, he regenerates into Jodie Whittaker, and introducing Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. Okay, all seems pretty straightforward. I'm with you. And when Jodie Whittaker regenerated into David Tennant, sorry again for the resolution, and introducing David Tennant as the Doctor. Now, this episode, by the way, then when 14th generated into 15th, we got and introducing Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. Okay? And bear in mind, okay, I don't think anyone saw this. Well, there are a few people that saw this regeneration coming. I wasn't expecting it. I felt it was way too soon. It was a really bummer, but you know what? I bet you that Ncuti Gatwa got, there was something that probably didn't gel with him about it, or maybe the role was way more work than he thought, or maybe it was a bit of good stunt casting to bring him in. And by the way, just an amazing Doctor. So in this episode, the Doctor does regenerate, right? And when he does, he generates into what appears to be Rose Tyler, played by Billie Piper, or as Billie Piper, who says, "Oh, hello." And when we see that, and introducing Billie Piper, introducing Billie Piper, you notice there's something missing there. It does not say Billie Piper as the Doctor. Now, this could be for one of many reasons. And I'm not one of those people that likes to speculate on these things, but I will throw it out there that in the situation where Unshudigatwa's doctor is regenerating, one, it's an expenditure of a lot of regeneration energy. In order to solve a problem. And when he does that, he even says, well, there'll be no chance at bigeneration. Which, again, when you introduce a concept where now all of the doctors throughout history have bigenerated. So all of your doctor that you love, whether you are old who, new who, whether it was any one of the people that were originally the doctor, now they still exist. That has happened all throughout his timeline. But now in Unshudigatwa, the first one that we saw bigenerate is the only one that doesn't get to bigenerate. Well, that's a bit of a bummer, isn't it? Or is it? Or is this whole a stunt thing? Anyway, a lot of energy was used. So could it be that Rose Tyler was somehow pulled in from that alternate dimension that she was in because of that expenditure energy? We don't know. But again, when you look at it, it does not say, and introducing Billie Piper as the doctor, just and introducing Billie Piper. That's it. Hey guys, here she is. Here you go. Everybody, once again, meet Billie Piper. Billie Piper is who? Billie Piper. That's all we know. So there you go. What the hey, man? It's confusing, okay? Already, when you try to talk about Doctor Who to people, it gets confusing. And I will say that one of the ways that you could probably assist yourself with that confusion, one of the ways that you can go ahead and give yourself a mental performance shot would be to use something like Magic Mind. I am an advocate for Magic Mind. I am a brand ambassador for Magic Mind, and it is a product that I love. It is made with all natural quality ingredients, including ceremonial matcha for energy. It's got other adaptogens and I always forget the neuro one. But it has the cordyceps mushrooms for energy and focus. I love when I'm always talking about, focus, and then I forget what it's adaptogens and neuro something or others. Oh, well. But, it's one of those great products where I am able to use it to both enhance my morning coffee, or I'm able to use it to get greater focus throughout the day. It was designed by a person who was told you can no longer drink coffee, or coffee is hurting you, and they wanted to find a way to extend the effects of coffee, and that is one of the things that Magic Mind can do. There's also a 100% guarantee on Magic Mind. Now, let me tell you something. If you want to take this little bottle, this mental performance shot, it tastes delicious, by the way. It has citrus aftertones. It's citrus forward, if you will. It's not wheatgrass flavored. It's a unique flavor, but a good one. Sometimes I'll put it in my coffee in order to bring an extra bit of flavor. Sometimes I will just take it by itself in the afternoon to extend that last bit of coffee that I've had in my system. What you can do is you can go to the link in the description on this show. It is magicmind.com/netheadlt20, and you can get a discount on Magic Mind. Now, here's what you're going to want to do. You can get up to 20% off your first purchase or your subscription. And here's how the best way you do it. You follow the link, you get the subscription, and you're automatically going to get somewhere around, let's just say you're going to get a discount. You use that code NetHeadLT20, you're getting an additional 20% off of that. I think the subscription is already discounted for you if you use that instead of a one-time purchase or a sampler pack. You will go ahead and get around 48% off of the whole thing, potentially up to 48% off, somewhere in the 40s. Definitely highly recommend it. Magic Mind is one of the things that helps me in my day. It is one of the things I literally take every day. I took one today. I got to be honest. I got a lousy night's sleep last night. I knew I had a lot to do because my daughter had to go to a dance competition. So let's go ahead and take some Magic Mind. Again, magicmind.com/netheadlt20. Get 20% off your purchase, your first purchase. And like I said, 100% guarantee. No questions asked. You don't even have to send the bottles back. So if you want to try it out, try it out. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So what are my other thoughts on this season finale of Doctor Who? Again, I've already complained about the fact that Russell T Davies once again just instantly diffuses the cliffhanger and takes us in a new direction. But let's not talk about the things I don't like. Let's talk about the things I do like. When you look at the entire run of the 15th Doctor, it's a story that starts in the Giggle, and it continues on through the Reality War. I do like that this did a wonderful job of bringing back elements of everything that has happened in this Doctor's run. From the very beginning to the Christmas specials to the very end. There are characters we have seen all along the way that are brought back. Even connecting to Christmas specials is something that I found really, really entertaining. I like the way they did that. It obviously gave a great way for them to quickly resolve the issue, especially when you bring back in the Time Hotel into play. I liked that aspect of it, okay? I enjoyed that element of the episode. I enjoyed it. It brought me joy. It was good, all right? But, I shouldn't say but yet. So I liked that. But I will say that when the immediate problem was resolved in this episode, and I looked at the clock, and there were still, I think, somewhere in the ballpark of 30 minutes left of episode, I started to get concerned. I'm like, uh-oh, what is going on? This is going to take a turn we're not seeing. And one of the things that was introduced in this is that somehow, some way, the Doctor had a daughter. Okay, and it was actually from, again, a previous episode. One of the space babies from what would be considered, I believe, the very first proper episode of this Doctor's run, outside of the specials. And that was good, and there was a major movement to try and preserve that child. That was the drive, right? That was the issue. That's what took us to the end. And it did get odd, and it did get sad, because that child at one point does disappear, and that's what the Doctor is trying to get back. Was it a big enough motivator for it? Yes, I could see the benefit in what he was trying to do. And I think it is a great way to go out on what you might consider a noble sacrifice for the character. But again, it really feels rushed. It feels like in some ways we're getting cheated out of this Doctor, which a bit of a bummer, man. Really a bit of a bummer. I'm really, I don't believe in not saying unkind things about entertainment, because I can't make a Doctor Who. Okay, the BBC is not going to pay me to run the show. They're not going to go from ideas. And look, I got to be honest. I'm not creative enough to come up with them. All right, I'm not that guy. I'm not the one, if you will. So it's very hard for me to critique the work. I will say that I liked the energy that this episode had. And Ncuti Gatwa really is probably one of the most charismatic Doctors we've had. And you know what? That's actually a misstatement, I believe, because Eccleston was good. Tennant brought a new energy to it. Matt Smith definitely brought his energy to it. Every Doctor brings something, and I'm not just saying this because regeneration is an item that is a little difficult for the audience, I believe, to go through, because everyone is connected to a certain Doctor. Every Doctor is somebody's first Doctor, right? And Ncuti Gatwa is somebody's first Doctor. So the regeneration is a loss, and people are going to experience feelings about that. And I've personally only been through it since Matt Smith regenerated. That was my first regeneration I caught live. When I really became more aware of Doctor Who, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna check it out. I quickly learned that Matt Smith was coming into the role, so I said, okay, well, it's probably finally time to go back and get caught up. So I did. I watched him, but I knew that there was a Doctor before him that he regenerated from, and I knew it was David Tennant. So when I saw Christopher Eccleston, when I first flew up New Who, I'm like, okay, I get it. This guy's going to regenerate into that one. then that one's going to regenerate into Matt Smith. Wonderful. And I was extremely endeared by Matt Smith. So when he did regenerate into Peter Capaldi, I was like, what is this? Who is this grumpy bastard? Who is this guy? By the end of Peter Capaldi's run, he not only won me over, he was one of my more preferred doctors, if you will. I really loved the guy. Seeing David Tennant come back was great. I thought Jodie Whittaker brought a lot to the role. I will say that I don't feel that she had the best creative team in her run. I would have preferred to have seen Jodie Whittaker in a Moffat era, if you will. I would love to have seen how Moffat would have written for Jodie Whittaker. But we didn't get that. Spoilers again. In this episode, though, we did get Jodie Whittaker. That was a wonderful surprise. That was something I thoroughly enjoyed. For whatever reason why it happened, mucking about with time, creating a giant time rift. Oh, boy. Well, you know what? Okay. Jodie Whittaker's here. 13th Doctor's back. Interesting. To give the 15th a little pep talk. But you remember that whole Rose Tyler thing? Now, mind you, again, I've given you the evidence. I don't think Rose Tyler... or Billy Piper, pardon me. I don't think Billy Piper is the new Doctor. Because they didn't say Billy Piper as the Doctor. But if Billy Piper were the new Doctor, then bringing 13th back makes sense. Because it's reintroducing us to the concept that the Doctor can also be a woman. If you even want to get into genders that way. Whittaker is a wonderful speaker. And in 2019 at San Diego Comic-Con, I attended a panel that was dedicated to powerful women in entertainment. And Whittaker was one of the people that was asked to be on the panel. And this was before we had seen anything of her run. We had not seen her play the Doctor yet. But I loved what her response was when she was asked, well, how do you feel being the first woman to play this role? And she said, well, you know, I'm excited to play the role, but I don't think it's important that the Doctor appears to be a woman because the Doctor's also an alien. So what does gender mean when it's somebody from a different planet? And I thought that was a very profound insight. I thought that was a really interesting idea. I thought it really helped reframe for me my thoughts on the episode or on her run and on the character. But now, you know, we were in this new weird world where we don't know what the hell is going on after this episode. That's the reality. And it was interesting that before this season, there was a lot of talk about the BBC is going to cancel it. The BBC isn't going to carry it anymore. The BBC isn't going to continue with Doctor Who. Okay. The BBC's not going to continue with Doctor Who. Maybe. But now we get this, obviously a cliffhanger because we don't know what's going on. Was this all part of intentional hype? Look, when we had 13 regenerate into 14 and it was David Tennant, okay? We're like, all right, stunt casting. I get it. It's stunt casting. All right, I can live with some stunt casting. I'll give you a little bit of that. We'll let you have some fun, but then let's get to it, right? Let's get to business. Let's get this ball rolling with a new Doctor. It was great seeing David Tennant again. You know, nostalgia, especially considering when I was putting this together, I did not realize, okay? I did not even conceptualize how many Doctors I have experienced in this run of New Who. That's 8 images I showed you guys, all right? 8. 7 different Doctors in this era. Even though John Hurt is the War Doctor is kind of one that slipped in the cracks, if you will. But we now don't know what's going on. It's one of the first times I think excuse me, we've seen, it's the first time we've seen a regeneration, and I don't think we've seen a regeneration that leads to a new Doctor. So what is there to get excited about? I have no idea. I really don't. I have to go back and watch it because, like I said, I did not see this in the optimal way watching on an iPad. I didn't stick around to the end of the credits. I don't know if there was anything that was teased or if there was anything that said, like, somebody's coming back for this. You know, is there going to be a Christmas special this year? It's a crazy question to ask on the last day of May. I know. But are we going to get a Christmas special this year? The interesting thing about Whitaker's run, you remember, we didn't get Christmas specials. It was more like New Year's specials or just specials. I enjoy the concept of a Christmas special. I love getting a new episode on Christmas. It's like another gift for the holidays. But will we be getting that this year? No idea. But like I've said, I've also blacked myself out from any information after having watched this episode until I could sit down, give some of my thoughts, put them out there into the world, and share them with you guys. Which I feel like I've done. There are other things that I'm sure will spark my interest after rewatching it. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts. Oh man. You don't really want to talk negative about things, I don't think. It's not beneficial, right? It's not healthy. But we had the reveal and the reintroduction of the character, the Ronnie. And then that was very quickly dealt with in this season finale. In a way that I didn't expect, and honestly, I didn't appreciate. It would have been nice to see the Ronnie stick around as a foil for a while. Master 2.0, if you will, okay? Have somebody that kind of slips in and out of the scene to be a nemesis for the Doctor. Missy was a great example of this during Peter Capaldi's run. That was a demonstration of how you could use another nemesis Time Lord in a great way. The Ronnie being revealed here, not so much. So, yeah, that was quick. That was really quick. It was over way, same way I felt about the regeneration. It was over way sooner than I expected. So where are we going to go from here? I have no idea. I don't even know if we know. Well, we do know one of the things that I did see that dropped today. One of the things that did slip through the cracks, if you will, and drop into my attention is that we are seeing the unit spinoff. I'm not sure if it's just a movie, but I believe we kind of knew about that. Like the war between the land and the sea, I think it's called. Something along those lines. I'm interested to see it, right? I'm very curious. But it's not Doctor Who. So, yeah. That's kind of where I'm at, guys. Look, I got to be honest. I wasn't thrilled by this. I liked that it did a lot of unique things. I liked that there were elements that did hook me in. But the moment Poppy, the Doctor's daughter, starts to disappear, you're like, oh man, where is this going? And then we saw where it went, like, oh man. So I don't know. I'm gonna go rewatch it. I'm gonna give maybe a better opinion tomorrow. If you want to hear more about my thoughts, then you can definitely check it out. This is definitely a microcast, if you will, of NetHeads, but NetHeads just the same. I'll have more thoughts about it tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, over on its fan box for TARDIS Talk, and with Dr. Squee for Gallifrey Sands. And it will be interesting to hear other people's opinions as well, and see how they either inform me or produce more commentary from me. So we will see. If you guys, obviously it's after the fact, but you could still join the NetHeads Discord and potentially become part of the conversation later. Again, like if you go to youtube.com/NetHeadsOnAir, you can go to this episode's description. You can find the link in there. Be sure to join. I will admit, to make it a little bit headache-free, you got to read the rules, you got to like them, then you got like almost full access, I believe. Otherwise, the only other thing I could recommend, of course, is to go to magicmind.com/NetHeadLT20. Give yourself a mental performance boost by using Magic Mind, whether you want to replace your coffee or help extend it. It has got quality organic ingredients, the ceremonial matcha, the cordyceps mushroom, the lion's mane mushrooms for focus. I believe there's, what's the one that's the anti-inflammatory? Is there some turmeric in it or something else? There's a great anti-inflammatory in there. A lot of benefits in that little green bottle. So definitely check it out. Get up to like 48% off your first purchase, somewhere along those lines. And it's real easy. You use the code NetHeadLT20. I love Magic Mind. Check it out. Otherwise, of course, be sure to tune in next time for a new episode of NetHeads, where we will be going back into the regular format. I will have a guest host, and it will not be me just sitting here talking to a camera, pondering in a ponderous way. It's so ponderous with Doctor Who. But thanks for dropping in. Thanks for listening to this one. Thanks for watching it. Thanks in any way, because we always appreciate everyone's support, including our Patreon supporters. The Patreon supporter of this week, Miranda Janelle, longtime listener of NetHeads. So greatly appreciate you. If you want to find out more, you can go to patreon.com/netheadsonair, where we not only have an entire back catalog that's available to you of all the NetHeads episodes going back over a decade, but we also do have unique content that typically is the before and after of these shows. So as we're prepping the show and we're talking before that, and as we after the fact, we bookend each show with unique content for you, not to mention certain levels get rewards and the like. So be sure to check that out as well. But you know what, guys? Thank you very much for dropping in. I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, my name is Will, and hopefully, in one way, shape, or form, I will be back soon.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodcast production. Smodcast Podcast, using our mouths on you since 2007.